So the other day, he hit a home run, and then his grandma wrote him a letter, and she talked to him about how he should give him some advice on dealing with Amos. And then then George wrote back and told his grandma the joke that his dad played, the April Fool's joke that his dad played on his mom about the chickens, and how mad his mom was, and how she basically told him that he could make his own food because she was not happy about his joke about the chickens and something happening to him. So anyway, then the grandma said that she was glad Rachel was being a good friend, and she was hoping that things would go better. All right, here we go. April 9th, 1938. I'm going to turn my heater off because it's really loud. Sorry. Dear Grandma, right after we finished breakfast this morning, our telephone rang. The telephone hangs on the wall in the kitchen, and Ma always answers it when it rings in our kitchen. When it rings our ring, which isn't very often. We are on a party line, which means several people in our neighborhood are connected to the same telephone line. The only way you know when to answer the telephone is when you hear your own special ring. Ours is one long ring and 3 short rings. We can ring each other on our party line, but when we want to talk to people who are not on our party line, we have to ring up Central, which is the telephone office in Link Lake. All calls from one party line to another go through Central. Ma told Pa the call was for him. As he listened to who was ever on the other end, a big grin spread across his face. Then he said thank you, hung up the receiver, and asked if I would like to ride into town with him. I bet his dog is here. He wouldn't say who had called, but he sure was grinning. He told me to pull on my jacket and meet him at the car. I bet it's the dog. I started to ask Pa what all the hurry was about, but he was all wrapped up in his thoughts and told me I'd know soon enough. Well, when we got to Link Lake, he pulled into a little parking lot at the train depot, which is just outside of the village. Now I was really confused. Why were we stopping here? Now I was really confused. Why were we stopping here? We never stop at the Link Lake depot when we go to Link Lake. The depot is a little one-story building that stands next to the railroad tracks that runs through town. At the end of the building is a large sign that reads Link Lake. The depot is where the train stops and that travel east and west through Link Lake. I asked Pa why we were stopping at the train depot, and this time he said that I'd find out in a few minutes. Inside the little building, Pa walked up to a man behind the counter. He told the man his name and introduced me. The fellow is called the depot agent. He came out from behind the counter, shook both of our hands, and said his name was Floyd Johnson. Then he said he had something special for us, and he motioned for us to follow him. I know it's the dog. And my eyes are blurry, or that's blurry. Oh no. Okay. We walked across the waiting room past a branch of empty chairs and a big wood stove. Mr. Johnson stopped at a small wooden crate sitting on the floor near the stove. The crate was maybe 3 feet square, with space between the boards on the sides. Here's your order, Mr. Stuckmeyer, the depot's agent said to Pa. Struckmeyer. Sorry. Come on, the morning train from Fond du Lac. I don't know what that is. He released the latch and pulled open the door from one end of the crate. Pa said I should look inside. I got down on my knees and came face to face with a furry little brown puppy with a long nose and big brown eyes. I asked Pa, "Is this my puppy?" "Sure it is. It sure is," Pa replied. "Cute little fella, isn't he?" He told me to let the puppy sniff my hand. When I reached my hand, the puppy licked it. I couldn't help but laugh. I love puppy dogs. Pa told me to take the puppy out of the box so we could all have a look at him. I picked up the pup, and this time he licked my face. Pa said that the kennel owner wrote that the puppy is a collie and that he was born February 2nd. He weighs about 15 pounds now, and he'll grow to weigh as much as 75 pounds. What? The depot agent said that the puppy is just about the finest one he's ever seen. I didn't think they got that big. Anyway, I put the puppy back in the crate, and Pa helped me put the crate on the back seat of our car. I kept looking at him all the way home. I felt about as happy as I had been in a long time. As happy as I've been in a long time, Grandma. Then Pa asked what I planned on to name him. I hadn't even thought about whether the little collie pup had a name or if I'd get to name him. But a name quickly came to mind. I told Pa I'd like to name him Depot. That's kind of funny. I don't know if I would name my dog that, but it's not horrible. I wanted to name him Depot because that is where I saw him first. Pa said the name sounds a little unusual, but if it's the name I want, then Depot shall be his name. Back at home, I carried the crate into the kitchen and set it down in front of the kitchen stove where Ma was working. Ma smiled when she saw the puppy in the crate. I guess she knew how much I had wanted one. Little Annie was on the stool next to the stove watching Ma cook. She hopped off the stool and stood watching as I leaned over, opened the door on the crate, and took out my furry pup. I told them his name is Depot. Annie started giggling and asked if she could pet him. I held the puppy out for her. Depot licked her face, which made Annie giggle even more. Ma said Depot is a cute puppy. Then she reminded me that it will be my job to take care of him, to make sure he gets something to eat and drink, and that he stays out of trouble. She went on for a bit about how puppies are known to get into all sorts of trouble. I told her I'd watch him real good, and I will. This was just about the best day I've ever had. Grandma, you would really like Depot. He's just the nicest little puppy. Your grandson, George. I'm always shocked that he doesn't say love your grandson, George. I just always think that's interesting because I would pick him to say that. Just because he talks to her all the time. Alright, so. Letters from Hillside Farm. This is week 6. What is that? Week 6, day 5. Number 1. Letters from Hillside Farm. The first one, his grandma wrote him back, I think. I have to pull my page. Oh no, he wrote, all of that was from him. Oh. Today was only George writing. he told about his dad taking him to town. George got his dog today from the train depot in, what was the name of the town? Link Lake. Link Lake. Whoops. Number 3. George's dog is brown and about 15 pounds and he will be about 75-ish. Number 4. I remember the first dog I got. I worked so hard to get him. His name was TG. Thank God. I was so happy to get it. Period. Okay, and my last one, I predict that the dog will get George in trouble. At home. I bet it messes with the chickens. Maybe because it doesn't like chickens. I don't know. Because his mom really likes those chickens because they make money. And it just makes me wonder if that's going to happen. So now I got to go back through. I'm going to look and make sure I have capitals for the beginning of my sentences and for names. So today and George and a period there. He told his dad that he told about his dad taking him to town, period. So 2 points for that one. George got his dog today from the train depot in Link Lake, period. Nice job. George's dog is brown and about 15 pounds, and he will be about 75-ish pounds. LBS. George. Oh! He named his dog is named Devo. I like it. I remember the first dog I got. I worked so hard to get him. His name was TG. I predict that the dog will get George in trouble at home. Maybe because, maybe I'm going to turn that into a comma. Maybe because it doesn't like chickens. Oh, his mom would be so mad. Because his dad even joked about the chickens. I'm shocked like the mom wouldn't freak out.